Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of ByteSized Talks. This is an F and Friday episode. Today we'll be talking about streaming services. Should you cut the cord? And certain foods. I don't think some should be cut in half or cut at all. We'll debate about it. Come check out the episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to ByteSized Talks. This is F and Friday. My name is Gary, aka Hempy. Of course, with me is Julian. Say what's up, man.
Hey everybody, this is Julian or Joop. Hope everybody's doing well. We got an F Friday today, so what do we got, Gary?
So I was watching some shows, and dude, it's a pain in the ass to try to find where certain things are streaming on at times now. And it's not even like the big fight anymore. Like, figuring out where can I stream the fight, or it's like where can I watch this movie that's getting released just to a certain streaming platform. So a big thing that happened, probably about 10 years ago, I would say, is like the whole conversation, like, should you cut the cord in terms of like cutting cable services or like satellite services even. So I don't know. I think that to me, I'm having a little bit of like, they say there's like tip fatigue, like where should you give a tip every time you go to Starbucks or
Yeah,
Subway or wherever, whatever place, like, they have a little like, oh, do you want to give a tip? I'm having streaming fatigue, and
yeah.
that like there's so many damn services, and I it'll be interesting to kind of talk about that. But we'll start out on something I think that's more generally relatable to everybody, and I think everybody will have an opinion. So we'll see if we get comments about how people feel about this. But I'll tell you where this started from. Without, I'll just jump into a story without saying the topic. The other day, I decided to stop by a taco truck. Right, and I was like, I wanted a burrito, so I was like, okay, let me go there. So I stopped by this little random taco truck that I've driven by a bunch of times, never stopped by. I go there, and the sign was interesting, very limited offering, but I was like I kind of like that. I was like, because they're not trying to do too much.
Yeah.
I ordered. I was like, let me just standard thing I'll typically order. But the first time I try a place is like a carne asada burrito or al pastor. All right, but I
Yeah.
typically will start out with the burrito. Um, Dude, I got a taco with a burrito with al pastor, and it comes, dude. The size of it was like decent for the value, right? I was like, okay, not great, but good. They had like the one side of it was like really toasted, so it had like a backbone. It had some rigidity,
Yeah.
but they fucked it up in that they cut it in half. And I was like, why is this bugging me? Like, it's such a stupid thing. And I was there and I was like, if this was a wrap, which is very similar
Yeah.
to a burrito, I would expect it to be cut in half. So I was like, this might be an interesting topic to discuss. What food should we be cutting and what shouldn't?
And,
So,
I think my favorite food is a burrito for a couple reasons. One, I'm Mexican. I love burritos. Two, it is so practical, especially when I used to be driving around a lot before. And you grab it, you eat it, and that's it. So it's the practicality for me that makes it such a good food.
dude, I feel like people who have stronger ties to Mexico are more Team Taco. Like,
Yeah.
I feel the burrito is more of an Americanized platform for
What's funny
delivery.
is in southern Mexico, they don't really know about
Southern,
burritos.
southern, southern. Okay,
Southern,
southern.
southern. Enunciation, god damn it.
The southern
Uh,
sounds like some flat Earth shit. Like,
southern.
there is no hemisphere, so it's just southern. Right? Like,
Oh god. But yeah, so in the south of Mexico, they don't really have burritos. That's not really their thing. It's more the northern part of Mexico that really sees that type of food.
yeah.
Now, obviously, they probably have it more. It's more common now, but they don't really. I mean, you mentioned a burrito to them, like, yeah, I guess it's not really their type of thing.
But have you gone to a place where they bring out the burrito pre-cut?
Yeah, usually a restaurant where it's on a plate or something.
Now, if it's a wet burrito, yeah, you're not handling that. Like,
Yeah,
I fully understand that, but still, I work from one end to one end. A middle out operation on a burrito is fucking psychotic. Like, I
Now,
think I
what
think
what about a burger? What about when they cut a burger in half? How do you feel about that?
uh okay, so this is interesting. Burger, if it comes already cut, I'm not thrilled about it. I understand it. I
Yeah,
understand cutting it in half, the classier move.
yeah.
But dude, to me, a burger is you grip it and you fucking you're invested in holding that burger until it's gone now. Because as soon as you put it down, we all know if it's a good enough burger, big enough, like the structural integrity disappears the instant it leaves the plate. Like its shape warranty is voided the second you pick it up off the fucking plate, right?
Especially if it's greasy and whatnot, dude, that bottom bun is gone in a few seconds.
I was at a conference and I met this chick who uh, was very self-admittedly a sloppy eater. She
Yeah,
said like her boyfriend doesn't let her eat like burgers or sandwiches, or like won't eat them in public with her because
yeah.
she has to elbows up eat, like because of the juices drip down, like it like makes a mess. So the only way she can eat is with elbows like super raised like this, like.
Oh, fuck.
um but like I understand why the burger, but it's like it's not a. Is it really a burger if you're like if like let's say you take it a step further and start eating it with a fork and knife, like my dad did when he took my mom out on their first date. Like I think they went to
Dude, there's
Bob's.
always that first date. You
Yeah,
try to
like
eat as clean as possible.
my dad is trying to be like show some class as he took her to a Bob's Burger, not Bob's Burger, Bob's Big Boy. I
Bob's
think
Burger.
that was the place. Yeah,
Fucking hate
and
that
I
show.
guess my dad ate his burger and fries like all with a fork and knife. Like, like, um,
There's no
yeah.
way a grown man is gonna eat a burger like that. She knew
But
she knew he was bluffing.
now, so here's the, I don't like cutting a burger in half.
Yeah.
I don't mind a sandwich on like normal bread being cut in half, but only one cut. If you fucking try to do triangles, you're doing too much. You know what I mean? Like if you do the
Yeah,
cross cut, like
yeah.
on a sandwich, which is the most acceptable double cut, but like and I understand cutting it like especially if you want it to be like the triangular, like the two big triangles. If you're like if it's a dipping sandwich, like I've never had this, but like a grilled cheese and tomato soup, like that's
Okay.
a white America thing. Like,
Yeah, I don't like tomato
uh,
soup.
um,
I don't know.
yeah. So like I understand one cut on a sandwich. Um, I don't understand the cut on a burger though. Like,
Yeah,
um,
it's a classier way to present it, and I get it. But yeah, burger is just the whole burger, and that's it. There's no reason to
yeah.
cut it.
But okay, and then like, where do you stand on like not traditional like two bread sandwiches, two pieces of bread sandwiches, but like more the sub hoagie to where it has it's the mini bread loaf that has the intact backbone of bread
Okay.
still in place. Where do you feel about cutting that?
I don't think you should cut it.
I think it depends on like the length, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You
like a
know,
Subway, you'll have to cut it, but not a
if
smaller
you
one.
yeah, like because like if it's almost like if your buddies could rip you for like what you look like eating it, like if you're eating a Subway, right? Like cabrón, what are you,
You're gonna hold it like
yeah,
that.
cabrón, are you gonna marry that thing? What the fuck are you doing? Right? So like, I think like if it requires two hands to fully handle
Yeah.
for a sub because of length and like
Yeah,
again, it doesn't have a backbone to it, like
yeah.
uh yeah, like okay, give it one cut, make it in the foot long into 2 6 inches, right? Like um, but like, dude, could you imagine like what you would do if you saw someone again? Like one thing if it's one of those abnormally long, like like hot dogs you'd go to, like you'd get like maybe like in like Vegas where it's like a 2 foot fucking thing, and they
Yeah.
put a pound of toppings and different things. But like a normal fucking hot dog, like if I was at Costco and I saw someone like cut it in half to start eating it, I'd be like, yo, that guy has a basement full of fucking bodies. That
Because
dude,
a serial killer. Yeah.
you cannot tell me that guy is not fucking murdering anybody who knocks on his door. You know, like,
Oh, shit.
um,
Yeah, I think if you cut a hot dog, I mean, yeah, that's way too far.
but but this is like the whole like is a hot dog a sandwich, and like how far is it removed from like the sub sandwich, right?
Yeah, yeah. Wasn't it like is it everything every food is either a soup or a sandwich or something like that? Weren't you the one that told me that?
And I think that was like a debate that was like on the internet for a while.
That every
Um,
food we eat is either a soup or a sandwich.
yeah, which I mean, it's one of those things. Like once you start breaking things up too broad, or I guess if you're trying to everything like when you start sorting it, like it starts out from like okay, there's all of matter, then there's depending on how you want to break it up, like there's things that are green and then everything else, and then everything
Yeah.
else, you get that right, like depending on where and how you want to make that decision tree. I think potentially you could reverse engineer it into everything's a super sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Potentially. um yeah, but like I was like if they would have left this burrito intact, I think it would have been 10% better. Like, as
Yeah.
stupid as that
Especially
sounds.
for a Mexican place to have their burritos cut in half, it's kind of weird.
Now again, this is in Kentucky, right?
That
Like,
makes sense. Yeah.
and but I will say like the place does have like some authentic flavor to it. It's not, you know, totally uh Midwest like Mexican food. Like it's fine. Like it, I don't know that how much it'd hold up in California,
Yeah.
but like it's respectable. Um, and I wonder if that's like just something that they had to adopt out here. Like, oh, we had to give it the gringo cut. Like, you know,
Not too spicy. Don't add pepper because it's too spicy.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, she's like, oh, do you want red or green sauce? I was like, oh, it's weird. As I've gotten older, I prefer red sauce over green.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
No way. I'm always going for green.
I was team green sauce up until like 3 years ago, and
That's when you
then,
moved to Kentucky. That's probably why.
but no, I think it's just like the red to me has a deeper flavor profile. I don't know. To me, it's smokier.
Yeah.
It's richer.
Well, it also
Um,
depends on what type of green sauce. There's different ones.
like something that's overly tomatillo based. Like I'm not
Yeah.
like to me, it could be too. Again, I'm not the flavors guy, but like maybe like I feel like sometimes those are too acidic for me, which I like with certain things. Like I'll prefer that with
Yeah.
certain meats. Um, but I think in general, I've gravitated towards Team Red Sauce. Um, maybe it's just the red sauces that are out here, and maybe that's why I've made that switch.
I think
Uh,
that's why.
but I mean, growing up, dude, I was like, oh, just green sauce. Why the fuck? Why even bother with the red?
Now, would you
Um,
go Christmas at all? Especially on burrito.
that was a term I wasn't introduced to until I moved to New Mexico. Like,
Yeah.
Christmas was never red and green at the same time. It was
Yeah.
green then red at a necessity because you
Yeah.
didn't have enough green sauce. Um, there was this one place in San Diego, like you had to ask for it. It was off menu, but they had a brown chile. Like,
Brown?
yeah, it was like because like I think it had a bunch of like charred tomatoes and stuff. So like the char from
Oh,
that
okay.
gave it some discoloration.
Okay.
Um, but it wasn't that bright green that we're all familiar with, or that that there's two types of red. There's like a deeper red, and then there's that watery red.
Yeah.
Um, but this was like a brown, like I would say something like you'd see like as you're grinding up on a molcajete, more of that based.
Okay.
Um, So like I used to have to like, oh, give me the brown. They're like, oh fuck, I think they only had like 10 things of it a day. So like,
It's this guy again. God damn it.
yeah, maybe it's just the old red, and like,
It's been aged for
yeah,
5
like
years or something.
fucking, that fucking weird guy is back. You bring out the brown shit, like, um,
Something I found out recently, which I mean makes sense, is that Tabasco is actually from the US. Did you know that?
oh yeah, that's the Tabasco is what happens. I think when like some guy from like Connecticut went down to spring break and was like, "Oh, like I'm gonna make salsa." Like, and he only
Yeah.
used the stuff that he had in like his cupboard in Connecticut.
Yeah, it's
You
like
know,
5 different ingredients and that's it.
I hate Tabasco. Tabasco. I
Really?
remember like seeing commercials for it. They had some great commercial and marketing ads.
Yeah.
I would say the 90s and maybe even like the early 2000s. Like they had one I remember where like this guy's putting Tabasco on like every bite of pizza he's about to take, and a mosquito comes and like lands on his arm, like and he's like, and then he takes a bite of the Tabasco, and the thing flies away and like bursts into flame because his blood was like that hot. Like, uh, so I remember they had some creative marketing things, and I
Yeah.
remember trying it and going, "This is fucking bullshit." Like, if
It has
there's
it has a lot
there's
of
a
vinegar.
yeah, if there's a Latino out there that prefers Tabasco over Tapatio, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't know where you're supposed to go, but get out of here, okay? Because you don't belong here. And here's wherever there's, I don't know. I'm not gonna get too particular, but like, if you're Tabasco over like the big three of Mexican hot sauces, Tapatio, Cholula, and I
Cholula.
get it. If you know her, I know her, cabron. You get to call her what you want, but and then this is a brand I didn't run into until New Mexico, which I
Yeah.
felt like was like the New Mexican Tapatio was Valentina. Uh,
Valentina, yeah.
yeah, like that was a brand I didn't really see at all growing up. We were primarily like the Tapatio demographic, and then like every now and then you'd go to a place that didn't have Tapatio, and they'd have the what would you say? What you call her? Cholula,
Cholula.
Cholula. That's not what we call her. Okay, not in California.
Because you
Um,
don't speak Spanish.
and then every now and then, like, actually, this brand is okay. Their shit gets a little weird. They only come in tiny bottles. Like,
I know what you're talking about.
you know which one I'm
I'm gonna
talking
wait for you to
about?
say it. I'm gonna wait for you to say it.
I don't know their name. I honestly don't. If if you want to throw it in the private chat, I'll try to read the name. If you want me to try to do that, um, but I can't. I can't recall the name. But I'm a fan of it. They have different flavors. Oh, cabron. Uh, Yacateco. You you right. It's more of a you.
Yeah.
Yucateco. You
There you go. Hey, you got
yeah
that on the first try. Sort of.
yeah. I did a little too hard of a Y at first, but yeah. Um, yeah, that brand. You'd see that here and there, but it wasn't as popular. Tapatio was the gold standard of hot sauces.
Yucateco has a bunch of different flavors, which makes it interesting. And that one I like it more when it comes to soups or tacos,
Hmm.
just because it has that different taste, or you can choose different things. But I wouldn't put tapatio on a fucking taco, that's for sure.
I agree. Tapatio has a place on everything but a lot of like traditional Mexican foods. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
Tapatio is made to Mexicify all sorts of other cuisine. Like,
yeah,
fucking throwing Tapatio on some deviled eggs.
yeah,
On, adding it to popcorn. Tapatio limon on any type of like fruit.
yeah.
Uh, like, so I see it, but yeah, but like if I was to go buy like some carne asada tacos and come home, yeah, I'm not fucking putting Tapatio. I'd just eat them without the chile.
Yeah,
and to
exactly.
use that because it would, yeah. But like when it comes to like, oh, this just needs something like, and it's potato salad, dude. Fucking, you can't go wrong giving it a couple hits of tapatio, you know.
That's true.
And
You know, what's funny
tapatio
is that
is, oh, go ahead.
when I'm eating like scrambled eggs or something, dude, I prefer to put Tabasco on that. I don't know why. And it's only
And that,
with like scrambled eggs.
I say get the fuck out of here. Like Chad would be like, I remember Chad be like, oh, dude, some Tabasco on some eggs, fuck yeah. And like, I remember one time I was like, oh, let me try this, and I was like, I just fucked up a whole plate of eggs before I could fuck up this whole plate of eggs. Like,
Oh, shit.
but dude, no, Tapatio, like, uh, Tapatio is also king of adding chile to your beer when making micheladas.
Michelada. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Tapatio is the one you want. Like, I can imagine Tabasco maybe has a place with some other shit, but like, no, give me.
No.
Um, but yeah, okay. I think we could segue. But so no, you don't cut the burger, right? No, that's one
Yeah.
thing. No cutting of burgers. Sandwiches are very on the occasion, or on the type rather.
Yeah.
Um, Pizza. Where do you stand on people? No, obviously you cut a pizza. Nobody's eating a fucking,
I was gonna say, roll it up like a burrito and
yeah.
fucking eat it.
Yeah, no one's attacking 360 degrees around, right? Like, and maybe if it
Yeah.
was a personal size pizza, like you could
Yeah.
tostada it, but like, um, so obviously pizza needs to be cut into either like normal pie slices, or the checkerboard pattern, right, for square
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah.
Um, what do you feel about the person who will eat their pizza with a fork and knife?
Oh, that fucker's a serial killer. There's no way you're eating pizza with a
Yeah.
fork and knife.
To me, I mean, I've never had deep dish, but I know that's the one chavette of this, right? The one caveat.
God damn it.
um, and the one thing also, if it's a comically big pizza,
Yeah.
to where it's like a 2 foot slice, like, and again, that's where like the integrity uh comes into like the sandwich length, like,
Yeah.
it's where you have to cut it in half just for like responsible handling purposes. Like, but to me, like the place that's doing the comically long slice, if you're getting it in that fashion, you're supposed to eat it in
Yeah.
said fashion because that's part of the experience. Otherwise, they would just checkerboard it,
Yeah.
you know. Um, but yeah, dude, fuck people who eat pizza with a fork and knife.
Yeah,
Like,
there's no way you're doing that. It's
and like
meant to
this,
be handheld.
dude, I've sacrificed more T-shirts than the Mayans did people to the food drop gods. Okay, like, like, dude, if it was possible to replace this part of a T-shirt, like, if it was socially acceptable to have just like that part get replaced, like, I would have multiple shirts that have been redone,
You
or
have to
just
start
like,
carrying a bib with you, way.
yeah, essentially, like, yeah, that, or like thing that the guy wears, like a dicky, to where it's like a fake collar thing, like, but essentially a bib, but like maybe more
A,
fashionably
a dicky?
applicable.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
So you know the guy in Big Bang Theory, the
Sheldon?
engineer, no, Wolowitz,
Oh,
the
okay.
horny guy.
Okay.
You know how he always has like a turtleneck on?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That only goes from like his neck to like around here,
Oh,
and then
shit.
he wears a t-shirt, so like it stops at like the shoulder area.
That's what you need.
It's like a fucking gasket, like, for a t-shirt. Um, yeah, so like I understand people trying to preserve a little bit of class, but it's like, no, like, fucking order something else then.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like I had a piece of fried chicken with my lunch, and like, dude, if you're fork and knifing a piece of chicken, like fried chicken, like, if the bone is still in the chicken, you have to manually handle and maneuver.
What about if you're on a first date and you decide to order chicken wings bone in, what are you doing then?
You've already fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Like you already fucked up, and you might as well play like go lean into it. If you try
Yeah.
to, because it's only going to be like, oh wow, this guy's really smart and competent. No, like what deductions are they gonna pull out? She's already thinking you're a fucking retard for taking her to a Buffalo Wild Wings on the first date.
Yeah.
Like that was already strike one. Like, dude, come on, you went to a chicken wing place on date one.
Well,
Like,
sometimes there's some nice restaurants or sort of a bar type thing to where
oh, locos, cabrón.
hey, it's nice. Get to spend every weekend there.
But like yeah, but like no, any place that where like chicken wings is like the standard thing. Like that's a bar-y type place, which not
Yeah.
isn't necessarily in itself a bad place for a first date. But there's plenty of other options you can get to.
Yeah,
Right?
but
You could have went for
if
the
you order wings for like the first date, just fucking lean into it. You already ordered them,
yeah,
and nobody fucking needs to put the no fork and knife. Just lean
yeah,
into
and also don't be creepy with it either. Like
it. Stare
you
into
know,
your eye while you're sucking
yeah,
on the
yeah,
bone.
he's like yeah. Like damn,
Oh,
bro,
fuck.
I like the way you work that drumstick. Like
Oh shit.
all right, so
Cable. We're going with
yeah,
cable.
yeah. um okay, so this whole cutting the cord thing. One,
Yeah.
unless you're getting satellite internet, you probably have a cord in your house that you're still using,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's replacing the cord. It shouldn't start cutting the cord. But the whole cutting the cord movement is to ditch cable, uh, to go for these streaming services,
Yeah.
which um, I feel like we're always being played because um, I've heard it talks that Disney could be selling. I think it was Disney, um, or Disney Plus, FX, and something else. There's rumors that they could be selling to Apple TV.
Oh shit.
So you could start seeing big fish eats little fish here,
Uh-huh.
pretty soon, to where there's only going to be two or three fishes left in the pond. Um,
I kind of prefer that.
I I would I would prefer that, but then rather than being a $10 a month, they'll be like, well, we tripled our amount of viewing options. We should triple our price. We replaced what used to
Yeah.
be $40 of services. We could sell it for 30, surely, right?
Yeah, I
And
guess so. And I mean, once there's less competition, they can decide whatever price they want at that point.
yeah, um, but like right now it's like uh, and like here's the thing: they've all been successful with different programs and shows they've put out.
Yeah.
Um, like Netflix, I think everybody's had a Netflix series that they've really have enjoyed, or one of those. Like I think they do really great. Um, like there's one called Unbelievable. It was like an eight
Okay.
episode thing where this girl, was she raped? Was she not? What was going on?
Yeah.
Why does the story keep changing? Is she was a troubled girl, but she keeps saying this happened, but then she says it doesn't. So is their story actually believable? Then like the whole premise of what the bigger picture was unbelievable as well.
Yeah.
Um, that's a really good like 8 episode thing. Go check that out on Netflix. Um, Hulu, they've had some hits. Like the movie Prey that came out, which was like the Alien versus Predator,
Yeah.
or Predator universe, where it's like but with Native Americans. That
Yeah.
was pretty dope. I liked that. Paramount Plus, they've had some good things. The one I watched on there throughout this past week or two has been The Lioness,
No
uh,
clue.
written by Taylor Sheridan, who does Yellowstone,
Okay.
Sicario.
Oh shit.
I like him from those programs. I don't like everything he puts out. He's had some duds, but on this, it's a CIA uh, program to where they use women to bond to the wives or girlfriends of terrorists to then find said terrorist.
Okay.
So you're not going to find the men directly. You're not going to get the men, that guy's second in command to fold on him. But you could befriend his wife and follow that back to maybe eventually she trusts you enough to invite you into their compound, into their inner circle because she
Okay.
has no friends. So that was like this lioness program. But that's once I think they might have started the second season, but I've only watched the first season. But that's on Paramount Plus. That's really good. So all these different platforms have good shows, good movies that they put out. So I think that's the thing that we're all going to want to watch them, and things that maybe would normally go to theaters are now going straight to these streaming services.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, like I don't mind giving that $10 here, $10 there, throughout the year, but to have access to it throughout the year is going to be $120.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's for one service. You
And
know,
that's I think that's one thing I like about Amazon is that not only does it have its own shows, but if you want to watch a certain movie that's only on Disney Plus or whatever it is, you could rent it on there, or you can just buy it, watch it whenever you want.
yeah.
And I think that's a better way to go is if you want to watch something and it's not on your streaming service, just be able to fork up 15, $20 for a one-time purchase.
Now, I kind of look back at to see what happened with our cell phones with the data plans that we used to have. It used to
Yeah.
be $100 per line plus if you
Oh yeah.
wanted unlimited data, unlimited text, unlimited calling.
Yeah.
Like, and at one point, I think I was paying $110 a month for my one line,
Damn.
and I had unlimited everything.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I went to Verizon where I was upgrading my phone, and I upgraded right before like this deadline. That like, lucky you did this now because you want to be like you're grandfathered in to this clause, and if you didn't have that, like, you'd be forced to go on like a $60 a month, but only like 1 gig of data, and then after like every gig was like $10 or $20, like
Fuck.
yeah, because like there are some people. I remember my buddy Jay. He got like a notice like you are in the top 5% of users because like he used his phone for fucking everything, and he was so proud of the fact that like he was like a data abuser. Like when he had full access like of data, he
Yeah.
he would at will. Like I remember one time he was like, dude, like you have a picture phone of me? Yeah, he's like, what pictures? Oh, I took a picture of this. Like I was taking pictures as if it was still like a disposable camera. I was like, okay, I got 30 chances to capture memories here. I
Yeah.
got to pick and choose where I'm going to capture them to get them like eventually printed. He's like, that's not what a cell phone camera's for. We didn't call them I think it was like full blown cell phone camera. Like that's not what these are for. Like this is for just taking pictures of stupid shit at Walmart. I think that's the exact example he gave me. Like he took a picture of like some freaking like action figure. Like he like set him up to do some funny shit like in the aisle. Uh, like that's what a cell phone camera is for. It's not for like taking like family pictures. It's for taking pictures while you're out and about of all sorts of stupid shit.
I mean,
Which we see.
with the quality that it used to have, it makes sense. You're gonna take
Yeah,
a picture with those cell phone cameras that looks like with 5 pixels. Um, Nowadays, I think it's more acceptable for that just because it has a good camera. You have a lot of storage, and you can actually save those.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so but getting back to the whole reason I brought up cell phones, I wonder if we'll get to the point to where our home internet services right now I'd say the average household. I see plans all the time that are anywhere from 30, 40 to 60, $70 a month for home
For
internet
internet?
service. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um, that once these, if we get a consolidation of services, streaming services, I could see the way to access them shooting up to 100, $150 a month.
Fuck, that'd be way too much. I don't think that's possible.
But they're like, hey, like, but you're only paying, Apple made it to where all these Apple and Prime between those two services, you're only paying $60 a month. to actually use them, because everybody in your house is using all these things, you need our premium internet. You don't want to.
Fuck,
You
true.
need our premium internet. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and until like, dude, I say people in apartment complexes should start uniting. Neighbors should start uniting, getting Wi-Fi signal expander or extenders. Like, let's send one Wi-Fi signal throughout our entire neighborhood. Can we do that? Like, and nobody be an asshole and try to like piggyback on people's stuff to steal their, their credit card receipts and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, dude, let's just run our own, like I remember my cousin Leonard. He moved into this trailer park, and I guess he was there for like a week, and he wanted cable. He wanted cable to be hooked up, and he pissed off everybody and said trailer park when he ordered cable.
Why?
Because when the cable service came out, they realized the whole place was hooked up illegally.
Oh shit.
So the guy who used to get up there to like wire people in, does everybody had free cable,
Yeah.
hadn't hooked up his trailer yet. So he called it in. The guy's like, "What the fuck? Why'd you do that, dude? Like, you should have just told us. We would have sent, Jose up there to plug you in. Like, fuck. Like, how they all got hit for that shit. Like,
Oh shit.
so I wonder if it's just a matter of time before, and I think it's them taking money out of one pocket and putting it in the other. You know,
Yeah.
these corporate conglomerates to where like, okay, hey, we own the streaming, we have the internet. Let's give them a break on the streaming prices, but since we're giving them a break there, we could charge them more for the actual the usage of it. You know?
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it's gonna end up changing here in the near future. I mean, I think at this point it's gotten to a point where internet is seen as more like a utility, like light or electricity. I mean, and stuff like that. And so I think internet might be the cheaper option in the future, and then the streaming service might be the expensive option.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens like when our boy Elon gets Starlink fully up to its
Yeah,
maximum capacity. What that's
yeah,
gonna do for pricing, um, uh, just because internet, it is in large part, if you're living in a modern society, it is required. It is like a
yeah,
requirement. There's so much information uh, that needs to be required. You are expected to have some sort of online literacy to an extent. Uh,
yeah,
just ways of but just because the other formats aren't there anymore. Um, Everything's on the go. To have a house without internet, it's to almost be like Amish now, right?
yeah,
Like if there's a no internet household, that's like electrified Amish. Like,
yeah.
um,
All right, hold on, wait. We're gonna.
it-
I'll cut
it-
that part. Let me see what's going on with the dog.
yeah. So that happened at about 38:45.
All right,
So,
there we go.
and we're back. Uh, but yeah, like I think all the there's a lot of forward thinking and planning on these corporations of how, not how do we get their money now. They're getting, they'll always have our money now in a sense, but how do they guarantee that 10, 20 years from now? You know,
Yeah,
um, and that, I mean, I think some when I see things of like fully digitized houses, oh, that's cool tech, or but it's also like I think you should still need a key like you should still need some actual hardwired
It's funny
hardware
that you mentioned that
in the
because
household.
my lock is connected to my Wi-Fi.
Think about it. There's a power. I mean, there's probably a battery backup.
No, it
Right?
is battery powered.
Um, but what if you get EMP'd one day, Gavron? And
Yeah, I'm shit out of luck with my lock, dude. My
yeah,
lock, my thermostat, everything's connected. My vacuum's connected to my Wi-Fi. Dude, it's wild.
Gavron, that's no way to talk about your maid. Uh,
Dude, yeah,
um,
my little like Roborock vacuum.
mhm.
Dude, that thing is amazing.
See, I think what you'll start seeing more in modern construction builds and like design of houses, people will start having like parts of their house that are like Faraday cage to protect against like where there's zero EMF signals, electromagnetic frequencies like coming through.
Yeah,
To where they'll have that room wired with uh, like a copper chicken wire sort of like fabric,
I see what you mean.
um,
Yeah,
to block all those signals. And one, I think it would be like for like for family time, so the cell phones and everything else isn't ringing off, but
yeah.
also for you to hide your digital assets to protect against something like an EMP.
Oh,
Just
I
think
see what
about
you
that.
mean.
If something was to happen, wipe out. No, nobody. Some people, technically, some people do, but most everybody has zero protection against their digital technologies, digital assets from being compromised from an EMP. You
Yeah,
know, and that's actually how not EMPs, but and the fact that we were so we accept the usage of all these radio frequencies without actually knowing how they operate.
yeah.
Um, the at the user level, not from the design level, but at the user level. Have you heard of the way people are stealing cars now?
What they're stealing from cars?
How they're stealing cars, not just like not breaking into the cars, not the window bashers. How they're physically stealing remote start cars.
I know I've seen a couple to where they had like this giant wire holding it like next to the door to try and grab the signal from the remote.
Yeah,
Know what we're talking about?
yeah. So that's the thing. Like most people who have a push start car know that like if the fob isn't within this inside the
Yeah,
range of the car won't start.
yeah,
All that is that fob only puts out a frequency that's maybe 5 feet, 10 feet, as far as what it can sense from the fob and what it sends out. So you have to be within that car's range to start
yeah,
it. What these things are, essentially, it's like a wire lasso that they go and they go. Most people like to leave their keys right by their front door,
yeah,
so they hold the lasso up to the front door, see if it picks it up, have that signal magnified, and then they sent to the signal to like a remote location within the car, and they're able to jumpstart your car, essentially hot wire it without actually touching the wire, and
yeah.
drive away with your car. Um, so I can see why, like, I can see houses like one. I think if I had that, I would buy a little metal box to keep my shit in to protect it. Um,
That's probably a good idea, actually. I, I
is your
should
truck
probably
remote
move
start?
my keys now.
Right? Like it'd be such a simple thing, right? Rather than putting it in a
Yeah,
little bowl or something, right? A little
yeah,
metal mesh contraption, right? You just drop your keys in, and it protects the signal from being stolen and magnified.
yeah.
But I
That
can
does
see
make
where
sense.
you have a whole room, so that way if you have a digital backup of all your family pictures, bank records, etc., you never have to worry about that being digitally compromised through some weird signal, um, EMP type event.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't think it would cost too much to the design of a house, or they might even start making like drywall insets with that technology. I don't know. I'm throwing out $1 billion ideas here. This is a
kind of,
copyright notice. Okay.
kind of. You know, they've been stealing our ideas
Yeah.
anyways.
um, but yeah, I think like that's something like right now. Like, do you have an RFID proof wallet?
No.
I do like because like they because if you go to a cashier, you go touch your card to it if it's chipped. You don't even have to swipe
I
it or
usually
insert
keep
it.
everything on my phone, and just have all
Uh,
my cards on there.
uh, See, I don't like putting things on my phone because like one, my I typically run my phone battery down pretty low. I
I
have a
see.
bad habit of that. Um, but like I want on something to where because if somebody walks just close enough to you, they stand next to you as you're trying to board a plane, and they could
Yeah,
have a scanner that could pick up that signal, and now they've copied your credit card, and now
yeah,
they could go and spoof that all over the internet and make all these phantom charges. Um, so it's one of those things like as we're adopting this technology, it makes it way easier, way nicer, way more convenient. But do we understand how to protect ourselves? And I don't think so. And this is a big spinoff from the cable
yeah.
discussion.
Because I mean, we can even say about that about AI, how Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are talking about how yes, we understand the technology, but what problem in the future uh, could be caused by AI that we need to be looking out for it now before it actually happens.
Yeah, I just wonder. I mean, we'll have to do a whole episode on AI. My belief is that AI will eventually unlock the next renaissance if we have the structural, if we have the things within our society that will allow people who used to have these jobs that were replaced by it to return to making fine crafts, making art, rather than
Yeah,
IKEA level furniture, going to the heirloom pieces again, you
yeah,
know? Because, dude, I don't know about you, but being in a college town at the end of every spring semester and the onset of fall, it's so discouraging how much trash is just thrown out from something is only a year or two old.
yeah,
It's a desk. It's that little bookshelf that's made of that cheap, crappy poly board mesh type
yeah,
pseudo wood. Um, and it's like, man, people used to have furniture. Like
yeah.
they used to move it across the country because it was solid mahogany, solid walnut.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
was furniture made to last and to keep.
yeah, it was dovetailed. It was seamless, or it 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 was a piece of art essentially. You
Yeah,
know, my dad has this curio cabinet, which is just like this. Oh shit! I went purple there. I went grimace for a second. Uh, but it's filled with all these little trinkets and my home run balls.
yeah,
But it's just all these little curiosities that the family has gathered throughout the years,
yeah,
and but that's like a piece that like the pool table that's there, nobody's gonna care about really. Yeah, it's worth a grand or whatever, but like there's no other value behind it, but beyond its monetary value. Like things used to be built and then grew to have a family significance to it, you know.
yeah,
And like that cabinet is one of those things that still has, like beyond its actual wood and glass value, it has a bit of life to itself. But anything you get from IKEA, where it's these stupid fucking boards that blow out, if you put five fucking textbooks on it, like,
dude.
oh,
The the biggest problem I have with that type of furniture is the backing on it. It's like this cardboard thing, and dude, they just you push it a little too hard, and it fucking buzzes. Like, god damn it! And that's the
yeah,
biggest problem I have with them.
yeah, and then like, yeah, and then like I don't know, I always like because they have like the little cutouts if you want to run cables, like
Yeah,
I always make the mistake of like either like not using them or use I always do the wrong thing. It's like a fucking USB port. It's either I choose to pop it out, then I don't need it, or um but yeah, like things used to just be built different.
yeah,
And but I think AI taking over the place of uh all these jobs where it would take thinkers, it would take people who have I think most people are creative. Most people have a high enough level of intellectual capacity to bring value into something if they had the actual desire and time to pursue.
yeah,
Um, but typically life gets in the way. And if we get to like Andrew Yang's idea of like a universal basic income, you get someone, hey, you could have this apartment for $500 a month. You'll get 2,000. We'll put in good public transportation. What could you do with your free time at that point? Um, and it might destroy part of the pseudo celebrity at like the news broadcaster. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
might it might like that person's probably not going to be as well known in 50 years because it's not going to be what does Barbara Walters think about this. Like it's going to be what does Joe Rogan, right? Like what
yeah,
does this person uh whose YouTube channel I find to be informative, which is also dangerous because there's not like a reason to be held to a higher standard.
yeah.
um you
That,
know
that it's understandable to have a universal income, but at the same time, I think people should have a job in one way or another, something that drives them to get up every day and they have to go do something. Otherwise, if they're just getting their bills paid, their house paid, and everything, I think at that point, them not having anything to do might be a problem.
Yeah, but let's say we get back to the formats where people, rather than eating all this processed shit, are cooking again.
Yeah,
You know, is there just debate wise, is there a problem in a futuristic um, society to where it's maybe more to the homestead fashion, but with modern technology, to where we're not having these high stress demands where we're using robots for farming. We've displaced all these menial tasks with robots, so more focus is on the family life,
yeah,
raising a family, spending time with kids, parents being able to go out and do things, having education to where what if we get rid of all these jobs and it becomes a requirement that a classroom can have no more than 10 students per classroom.
yeah,
Like what that level of engagement we've gotten away for the sake of scaling up and industrialization. um, and I think there's been generations that have just kind of been brought up in this fucking faceless machine of just pumping out the next generation, and we've been conditioned to think like we have to work, right? But
yeah,
what if work is going back to raising a family with strong, not even like I'm not tying this to any particular religion or not, but just building households on strong moral grounds of treating each other right, and we don't have generations and just waves and waves of people hiding their pain in opioids,
yeah.
physical, not just physical pain but emotional trauma, right? Like all these
And
people who were raised in a
uh,
system that didn't give them that chance, if their dad was able to stick around, or like I don't know, I think
yeah,
it opens up a different view of society that we haven't had in
50, 60 years.
more than that, more than that. And it'll be at a
Yeah, I
quality of life
guess.
and a level of service to where uh you know what if we could pull all those mid-range workers who were working at a distribution hub for Amazon, and we put them into we put those brains into developing super AIs to build strategies of curing childhood cancers. Who the fuck would be against that?
Yeah,
We have the potentially the resources are there, and maybe, and that's the thing. There could be some genius level guy who just happened to get a girl pregnant when he was 16, who works at some electric company, and he's their best electrician. But he could devise a piece of sensing equipment if he would have gone a theoretical college route. Um,
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like when it comes to finding something that gets you up in the morning, it doesn't necessarily have to be your work. It can be go and paint something that you find interesting, going and building that hot rod that you've been looking to do for so long. It's just something that drives you to get up every morning, something that you enjoy rather. I think that's something that is necessary for everybody to have, just to stay human.
No, I agree, and I think it's one of those, like, given that opportunity, people would I think we would just see a big return of the arts, and not the arts of what, like, maybe what we grew up with, all these, like, that's fucking art, that piece of fucking garbage, that thing that looks like they
That,
dropped
that
five.
banana taped to the wall is not fucking art.
Yeah, that painting, that canvas that looks like they just dropped 5 buckets of paint on it, you
Yeah,
know. And they get into these things that are, more intricate, art and function into the design of a building, not just function or the sake of all these abstract curves that, yeah, they look nice, but they bring no other value to this building.
yeah,
um,
and I mean, we can get into this into another episode, and we keep saying that, but here we are. But COVID kind of gave us that freedom to do what we want to do for a
Very
year and a half,
limitedly.
2 years.
If-
Very
but have you
limited.
noticed there's a lot of I've seen it just in reels where people are showing the pressure for them to return to the office structure. Like, it's almost
Yeah,
like there's top down pressure to destroy the individualism,
yeah,
right?
there definitely is. They don't like that remote working for people,
They
and
don't like people having the fuck you ability,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
um, that's a very dangerous thing for a company to have. Be full of employees that have, screw you, I'll go elsewhere. Screw
yeah,
you, I have options.
yeah,
Um, it puts them in a very uncomfortable place. It's like, fuck, like, this person is our best programmer, and if we want to keep them, surely somebody else would hire them.
yeah,
And if they want to work remotely, like, but I do think the office does bring value, especially to young people who maybe are otherwise wouldn't have exposure outside of maybe like their
yeah,
house structure, or didn't have a chance to go to college. Like, working in an office, a place like my brother Chris, his whole adult life has worked in Costco, and that's always brought him a wide range of people to become friends with. He's always had
yeah.
a network of Costco friends.
Yeah,
You know,
and it's good to have that human interaction. It's necessary. But adopting a style to where we do half day you work from home, the other half you work at the office, just so you can interact with people. I
yeah.
think it's very important for people to be interacting. Otherwise, it's just it kind of bogs the mind down, and you start, I don't know, just not functioning correctly.
It's just burnout, right?
Yeah,
It's this is pointless. This is unmotivating work.
yeah,
Um, and you just see that at all levels and all aspects of our lives,
yeah.
unfortunately. Um, and but I think if we incentivize people, what if there's like, oh, hey, so like you said, they need some basic thing, like, if you'll get, maybe it's incentive based to where it's like, um, you'll get X amount of dollars. Like I saw this as like as an idea for this thing that this gym membership did. They're like, okay, our gym is like $5 a day, what it averages out to. But every day you don't show up, it's free.
Oh shit.
So like, if you're like, oh wow, man, this place is $10 a day, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm making up like, oh man, this place 10. Like, yeah, yeah, Gary. But if you join every day you show up, we'll give you $11, right?
Yeah.
So, and as long as you're, like, as long as you're showing up as often as you say you're gonna show up, even if it's just for at least 30 minutes, you'll earn that credit. Like, there's still gonna be people at the end of the year paying 2 grand, 3 grand, right,
Yeah.
for said thing. Um, but like, that's a very interesting model, right? Like,
Yeah,
uh,
almost punishing you because you're not getting up and moving.
yeah, but so we incentivize it. Like, I think in Russia, there's a train stop that, like, if you stand on the sensor and the camera watches you, if you do 20 standing squats, just body
Mhm.
weight squats, within a minute, you get a free pass on the train.
Oh, shit.
So, like, because they realize, if you did that every day, you did 25 days, that's 100 at the end of the year. That's what, 5,000 squats that you would have done.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to add to your overall health and longevity. And that's going
Yeah.
to put less strain on the financial and health network as you getting older.
Yeah.
So, Uh, I think like that could be an interesting way of motivating people to have active, impactful lives. And but yeah, that's a whole.
It's a whole episode away.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a utopia or dystopia. You know, it's somewhere in between. Utopia. Uh, but
Yeah.
that's what we got for you guys today on this effing Friday. Hopefully, you get to go out and enjoy your weekend. On Monday, I'll talk about the new Expendables movie, Expendables 4. I'll have a take on that. Maybe no, I won't have time to watch anything else. But give us a drop, give us a like. Let us know whether you've cut the cord, what your thoughts are on that, and what sandwiches, what foods are and should be cut. So I'm curious to hear what your thoughts on that. Julian, you got anything?
No, nothing, man. Just give us a like, subscribe, go check out our social media. We'll be posting more often on there. And take care, everybody. Have a good weekend.
See you guys.